day 12 of 21. Last we talked to you, I think it was day 10. Things were not fun that day. They sucked. Between day 7 and day 10, I think were probably the hardest. Yesterday was a little bit easier. What happened in the evening with your broth? So Tim's level, he explained before that his, what was it?
My creatinine level is part of my kidney function, so they retested it, and it was just a little bit higher, so it was 1.36, and then 2 days later it was 1.38, and they said they actually have to stop the fast if it goes above 2. So initially they had offered Natalie broth because of her energy level being low and all these symptoms.
Because I wasn't able to sleep, and I was so sore and all of this other stuff, so all of my symptoms just accumulating. But most of my symptoms weren't necessarily from the fast, it was just from, or it wasn't necessarily crises that my body was healing, it was really just about being in the fast, so they thought that broth would help. I declined. And
then I said,
Tim heard.
Yeah, that sounds really good actually. Can I try that?
Can I try that?
Maybe help with hydration and all that stuff.
But it was also the doctor was you could tell he was about to suggest it from anyway, because it slows down what's going on in your body just ever so much. You're still fasting, you're still in ketosis, it doesn't change anything. It just slows it down ever so much that you get a little bit more comfortable. So they did suggest, I think he was about to suggest it for you anyway.
But anyway, they brought it that night, and at first, it smelled okay, smelled pretty good. Tasted more like a vegetable tea, hard to understand, it's not super rich, there's no salt in it, so I was able to drink half a mug, and then at that point I just couldn't tolerate it. I just did not care for the taste, I just could not do it. So Natalie finished up the mug.
I thought, why not? I didn't think it was that bad. It's not meant to, I don't know many people that have thought it was the most flavorful thing on the planet. Like, they weren't wowed by it. It's broth. It's unsalted broth. So, it's more medicinal than it is anything else. So I finished his.
You had a good sleep that night.
And that was the first, even on this bed, so we put the foam on the bed, and that didn't necessarily help. I still ended up on the couch the day after I got it. And then that day, I remember I was laying in here and I was planning to go to the couch later on that night, but I didn't need to. I found myself being comfortable here. So I actually had, it was a little bit of a broken sleep, but I was still comfortable in the bed. I was able to get good rest. So I didn't necessarily get more sleep, but it felt much more restful. I woke up much more refreshed. So that was really great to have that, to notice that this morning. So this morning, because I had declined the broth before, this morning I went ahead and emailed my doctor, Dr. Soler, and I said, I actually got some sleep last night. I think it might be, the tea that I actually stole from Tim. Do you mind if the broth, not tea, it's kind of like vegetable tea. So he said, sure, I was gonna get that at 3 and 5. I don't plan on drinking the whole cup just because it doesn't taste that great.
It also tends to sit in your stomach for a bit.
That's true. So yesterday it didn't necessarily feel good to drink.
They actually tried to bring me broth this morning, and I was like, can you take that back? No, thank you.
Yeah, Chef Ramsay was, I told you weren't gonna like it. Make sure you tell the doctor, but I told you weren't gonna like it. But he's a funny guy. We just came from his demo now. He was really good. But to get back to that, so this morning I woke up refreshed and all that other great stuff, and then started to kind of, like, the energy level just gets lower and lower, and so but I don't have any symptoms necessarily. I get a little sore from like laying in bed, my hips or my bottom or whatever start to feel like I've just been on them too much. That's what it feels like, and so it's sore, but there's nothing you can do. You have to rest. So I used the heating pad, and now I'm gonna use, and they just gave me broth, so my mug of broth is sitting right over there. And
We'll see.
yeah, what else? So what else we wanted to talk about is complaints. And yeah, let's start with complaints.
I mean, I feel like we talked about most of the complaints yesterday. Of us just feeling very weak and unmotivated, not being able to concentrate. Stomach just kind of feeling, gurgly and just generally a little off.
Throughout the entire experience, that's all you have to say? That's all
Yeah,
you have to complain
I'm
about?
also really, really thinking about junk food, like Taco
Hardcore.
Bell, pizza,
The strong stuff.
the strong stuff, yeah. So,
So he's been crazy pretty much the whole time.
yeah.
I think for the first couple of days, hunger was like,
And if I don't have my mind occupied, it's almost to a level of, like tap my hand, like, I need that food.
No, and he's on his phone. He's always on his phone. He's just a phone guy. But it's so much worse. So the moment he gets off his phone, he starts thinking about, describing food. And he just has to be distracted. So if he's not distracted, then it's like food. So that sucks for you. I had moments of craviness, but there are times when I can't actually think of there's a moment where I was just like, I wonder, normally around this time of the month I would be wanting like cookies. So I was like, I wonder what would be like to eat a cookie right now. I couldn't really remember what a cookie tastes like. I couldn't really fathom eating it. It didn't, and so I tried it with like a few other things, and there just isn't really that desire to have those kinds of food for me. Obviously, he has a different.
I actually haven't been craving sweets at all. It's just all savory.
Mine is too. I tend to think about chips and salsa,
Salty.
or things a lot of salt type things. Those are the things that I think about, like, oh, I wonder if I can stay off of those for a while, So that's really, is any other complaints throughout the entire experience?
It's just hard.
It's just hard. Yeah, it's just hard. You don't really. It's a very strange type of battle you're dealing with your body. My complaints mostly had to do with the bed. But it turns out it wasn't really the bed. It was me. It was me going through healing processes. So I was getting sore, my muscles and all of that stuff. That's part of like the detoxing and your body dealing with your junk. And once we kind of slowed it down, I had no problem with the bed. So I've been giving the bed a rough time, and it turns out it was me. The other thing was the saliva at night. I know that sounds really weird, but I get really salivated at night, and because of that, you can't swallow it because then you get nauseous. You don't want to throw up. That's not pleasant. So I have to spit it out, and that's all. When you're trying to go to sleep, that's not something you want to do. So that is super annoying. That still happens. It's to a less degree now, but I still have a cup next to my bed that I sometimes have to spit into when it gets really annoying. So that's my other thing. My lips, that I haven't talked about that at all. My lips were really, really dry because I was trying not to use balm, but he was using it, so I decided he was my
Dr.
excuse.
Slayer said it's probably okay. So
But that word probably made me stop, but now it just hurt too much. The other one was BO. We didn't smell good.
it's better now, though.
It's better now, but for a while, like, you would wash, especially like under your arms, like you would wash and scrub, and within minutes you smelled again. It was weird. The taste, you start to taste like metallic. The water starts to taste metallic. So that's not fun. But it kind of goes away. Mine kind of went away. I don't really even have like the film on my tongue. I never really had much of it. You had a little bit of it. It gets better as you go along. What else? Yeah, so those are the complaints. The other stuff is just knowing that you're doing the right thing and having the resolve to just keep going. We were given the option of like, maybe you wanna, shorten your fast. You guys are probably, especially me, maybe your detoxing might be coming to an end soon. So, we might be facing that decision whether we want to continue or stop at that point. I think we're just going to continue on. We planned on the 21 days, and when are you going to lose mostly body fat and be in ketosis, and might as well take advantage of it while you can, right? So those are some of the positives. Also, I'm really looking forward to eating the food. So
All right, well, we'll check in with you guys again in a few days.
yep.
Take care.